Hi everyone, this is Vivian, and welcome back to another video in our series on the steps to complete a written assignment. So, at this point, you've already completed your paper. Now, the step that I am about to talk about now, some people like to complete it earlier in the process. So, I will definitely leave this up to you where you want to stick this in. For me, it's just like one of the final things that we need to do. So that's why I'm doing it at the very end. I am discussing documentation, where you are providing your instructor with a listing of the resources that you have used. Okay. I know that you've heard the term plagiarism before. You should know that you cannot take somebody else's ideas and thoughts and use them without providing them with credit for where you got your information from. So the purpose of the documentation is that you are providing a listing of all of these resources. So just in case the instructor wants to go back and follow up, they will clearly know where you've gotten this information from. So this particular video is not about walking you through how to do your documentation, but once again, I'm showing you some tools that are available that can help you. Now, your instructor will let you know what style your paper should be in. In most cases, it will either be APA or MLA. Okay, so it's very important that you know that and that you keep that in mind when you get to this particular step. Okay, so I have heard two terms used, and I'm not sure how to distinguish both of them, but I have heard people refer to it as a bibliography, and I've heard people use the term a works cited page. I suggest that you check with your instructor so that you can fully understand the difference between the two. So we're not going to try to go through and because even after we talk about it, I'm still not going to fully understand the difference. But I don't think that the two can be used interchangeably. So I am talking about a bibliography, an alphabetical listing of all of the resources that you have used for your paper. They should be documented in a certain manner. These are standards that you cannot change. So when I was in school, what we would do is we would receive the hard copy of the MLA manual. We looked up the type of resource that we were working with. It showed us an example, and we duplicated it with our information, making sure that every place there was a comma, we placed a comma there. Where there was a period, we placed a period there. It had to look exactly like that citation was in that book. We could not make any changes. Now, over the years, what we are seeing is that there are software tools that will do this for you. With our databases, I showed you that usually there is a cite tool that was cited for you. So even though it's being done for you, you still have to proof it to make sure that it's done correctly, especially if the instructor has already provided you with what it should look like. If they have provided you with an example and this is the way they want it to look, you need to follow what your instructor has said rather than possibly using the software that I'm about to show you now. Okay. When it comes to APA, I think we're up to the sixth edition of that. And when it comes to MLA, we are up to the ninth edition. So if the instructor says you can use MLA 8th, well, then you follow those instructions. Don't try to use MLA 9th because there may be some differences in the two. So at this point, what I am doing is on our page, I am scrolling down, going to the category of databases. Once again, we are going to grammar. Under recommended websites, we have several citation generators here. Now, the citation generators are software that will allow you to use it in order to get a citation created. We have BibMe listed here. I have the citation machine. I have Cite This For Me. We have EasyBib. And then there are others that are actually on the web that you can use also. But I'm just simply scrolling down to see if I see any more that are actually here. Zotero, Bib, you can use this also. And then there's something called type site that is listed. So we have several that you can actually use. Now, before we start looking at the citation generators, let me just point out that I have something called using style manuals. And you may find this to be helpful because our hard copies of the APA and also MLA are referenced, which means you can't take them out of the library. But what you may want to do is come in and make copies of the pages that you need, or I suggest that you could use this, or you could just simply type in sample APA paper or sample MLA paper, just so that you can see how it should be formatted. Okay, so when it concerns the documentation, let's start by selecting APA so you can see what is actually here. You see that we have a picture of the book. It tells you the basics of APA style. As I scroll down a little bit, how to create a running head and page numbers is provided here for you. You have a sample paper, and then there's a little video that you can watch also. Now, you may also want to look at some YouTube videos to help you with this process. Scrolling back up, and let's select MLA. Now, one drawback that I see, this has not been updated to include the MLA 9th edition. Okay, though some of the other things that is on this page you may want to use, but just keep in mind we're up to the 9th edition of this. But this is the picture of the way the 8th edition actually did look. I'm closing this page out. Now let's look at least one of our tools that we have here. So let me select the citation machine. Okay, so we have two options: create citations or check your paper for plagiarism. So this is a source that will check it for plagiarism also. I am selecting create citations. Now, one thing I hate are the different ads that are popping up. Okay, but if you can just disregard that, it won't take us very long to go through this. So it says choose your source. So if you have gotten something from a website, you can. You have a book, then this is a print book, a journal, or select more. And then you have a listing of other things. And in some cases, you see the online databases, but remember our databases will do this for you. But all of these other options are here for you. Okay, so I decided that I wanted to do a citation for a website. So now I have a choice. I could create the manual. I could create manual citation, which means I have to fill everything out and then it'll create it for me. Or I've already copied the URL address and I'm simply pasting that in and it will search for it now. And it found one result. Okay, and this is the title of the article that I found. I select cite. It's showing me the information that it is pulling from this. It says, here's what we found. I can either go back or at this point, I want to continue. It has populated the chart with the information that it has, and it wants me to look to see if there's anything that is missing. It has even filled in the date that I decided to start this process. As I'm scrolling down, I can complete the citation or I can go back to review. I'm selecting complete citation. And at this point, these are the styles it has created it for. APA 7th. And then I have MLA 9th, MLA 8th, Chicago style, different styles are here. So let's stay with APA 7th, and this is the way that it looks. Okay. Now, in order for you to place this into your bibliography, do not use the shortcut for copying and pasting. What I suggest you do is select here, copy citation, which will maintain the format exactly as it's seen here. So when you get ready to paste it into your paper, this is still indented as you have here. The title is still in italics. So you cannot use Control C, okay, to do the quick copy. You have to use copy citation as you have here. If I want to change and select MLA 9th, And this is the way MLA Knife looks. Okay. Once again, as I move my mouse over, copy citation. Okay. And it will keep a copy of all of the citations that you have created. Now, if you want to sign up to have your own account here, I think there may be a charge associated with it. I haven't looked at this in a while, but I think there may be a charge associated with it. But this is what's called a citation generator. Now, let me just quickly go back to the very beginning. Let me see the quick way for me to go back. Okay, so I'm going right back in to create citations. And let's say that I want to do a book this time. Now with the book, if you actually have the ISBN number, you can perform a search. But I want you to see what happens if you select Create Manual Citation. It provides you with the chart, and you would just simply need to fill in all the required information and select Complete Citation, and it will actually do it for you. Now, I do want you to know that even though these type of tools are out here, you can't always rely upon them, because I have seen, especially with one, I think BibMe, the format doesn't look as it really should when it creates it. So I've always will tell students these are provided for you, but you still need to make sure that you make the corrections if you see that it does not look like what your instructor says it should actually look like. Keep in mind that the bibliography is an alphabetical listing of all of your resources. You can easily lose points if you forget that one step, which is very important. Okay. This is considered as the last section of your paper that you would need to complete. And it's a very important one. So you don't want to get all the way to this point and then just drop the ball by not following your instructions. Okay. So I'm simply closing this out. I'm about to stop sharing my screen. I do hope that this has been helpful. I would not wait until the last minute to start working on this. There are some people who like to kind of work on creating their bibliography as they're going along, and some people wait until the very end. Whichever way you feel comfortable, that's what you need to do. Okay. There is one last video that I plan to do where I plan to go through and show you the different tools that I've talked about, others that I want to actually show you during the very last video. So thank you once again for joining me, and I do hope that this has been helpful. And I look forward to seeing you on the last video. Bye-bye.